The conflict between Benjamin Netanyahu and Hamas is more than a political struggle. It is a deeply rooted clash of ideologies that has persisted for decades, shaping the lives of millions on both sides. It's a clash of ideologies, a battle for land, and a fight for survival. The land, sacred to both Jews and Palestinians, has been a focal point of contention, with each side laying historical and religious claims to it. The struggle is not just about territory, it's about identity, heritage, and the right to exist. The scenes of destruction and the humanitarian crises that follow are stark reminders of the human cost of this enduring conflict. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, has made his stance clear. He seeks the destruction of Hamas. His policies and military strategies reflect a hardline approach aimed at ensuring Israel's security and sovereignty. He views the group, which controls the Gaza Strip, as a terrorist organization bent on Israel's annihilation. This perspective drives much of Israel's military actions and justifies the blockade and frequent incursions into Gaza. Hamas, on the other hand, sees itself as a resistance movement fighting for Palestinian liberation. They argue that their actions are a response to years of occupation and oppression by the Israeli state. They view Israel's presence in the Palestinian territories as an illegal occupation. The expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank is seen as a direct threat to the possibility of a future Palestinian state. The group is deeply entrenched in Gaza, providing social services and wielding considerable military power. Their influence extends beyond mere militancy, as they also run schools, hospitals, and other essential services. This fundamental difference in worldview lies at the heart of the conflict. The deep-seated mistrust and animosity between the two sides make any form of reconciliation seem almost impossible. It's a conflict fueled by decades of mistrust, violence, and broken promises. Every attempt at peace has been marred by setbacks, with each side accusing the other of bad faith and betrayal. Both sides claim the mantle of righteousness, both believe their cause is just. This unwavering belief in their own moral high ground only serves to deepen the divide. This makes the conflict all the more intractable, the path to peace all the more elusive. The children growing up in this environment inherit the legacies of their forebears, perpetuating the cycle of conflict. The international community watches, often helplessly, as the situation deteriorates. Efforts at mediation and peace talks have repeatedly failed, leaving many to wonder if a resolution is even possible. Yet, amidst the despair, there are glimmers of hope. Peace talks and negotiations, though fraught with challenges, continue to offer a sliver of possibility. The resilience of the people, their hope for a better future, keeps the dream of peace alive. Hamas remains defiant, standing firm in the face of overwhelming odds. Despite facing immense pressure from Israel, which has launched numerous military operations aimed at dismantling their infrastructure and weakening their resolve, the international community, and even some within Palestine, the group refuses to disarm. International diplomats have repeatedly called for a ceasefire and negotiations, but Hamas remains steadfast. They argue that laying down their weapons would be tantamount to surrender, leaving them vulnerable to what they perceive as Israeli aggression. Hamas leaders frequently give impassioned speeches, rallying their supporters and reinforcing their commitment to their cause. Hamas points to the continued expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza as evidence of their need to resist. They highlight the daily struggles faced by Palestinians, from restricted movement to limited access to essential services. They argue that their armed struggle is the only way to force Israel to the negotiating table and secure a just peace for the Palestinian people. The sight of Hamas fighters preparing for battle is a stark reminder of their readiness to continue the fight. This stance has drawn criticism from many quarters, who argue that Hamas's insistence on maintaining its armed capability is a major obstacle to peace. Peace activists within Palestine and abroad have voiced their concerns, urging for a different approach. Yet Hamas remains resolute, their defiance a testament to their unwavering belief in their cause. The daily life amidst the conflict in Gaza paints a picture of resilience and determination. They are prepared to fight, to resist, and to die for their vision of a free Palestine. The sight of Palestinian flags waving amidst the chaos serves as a powerful symbol of their enduring spirit and unyielding hope for a better future. Amidst the violence and recrimination, a glimmer of hope emerged in January 2025 with the signing of a fragile ceasefire agreement in Gaza. The truce, brokered by Egypt, aimed to halt the cycle of violence that has plagued the region for years. The ceasefire brought a much-needed respite for the people of Gaza, who have endured countless rounds of fighting and live under a crippling Israeli blockade. It also offered a chance for both sides to step back from the brink and explore the possibility of a more lasting peace. However, the ceasefire remains precarious, with both sides accusing the other of violations. The underlying issues that sparked the conflict remain unresolved, and the potential for renewed violence looms large. While the Gaza ceasefire has brought a tentative calm to that front, tensions have escalated in the West Bank. Israel has stepped up its military operations in the territory, conducting raids, arresting suspected militants, and expanding settlements. These actions have been met with anger and resistance from Palestinians, leading to clashes with Israeli forces. The situation in the West Bank is a powder keg, and the escalating violence threatens to ignite a wider conflagration. Netanyahu's government argues that these measures are necessary to combat terrorism and maintain security. However, critics accuse Israel of using excessive force and of further inflaming tensions by expanding settlements in the occupied territory. Section 5. Hostages and Prisoners, a Human Tangle. A particularly contentious issue in the conflict has been the fate of hostages held by Hamas and Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. Hamas's capture of Israeli hostages during the 2023 conflict sparked outrage in Israel and added a deeply personal dimension to the conflict. The issue of prisoner exchanges has been a recurring feature of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. For both sides, the release of prisoners is seen as a victory, a sign of strength, and a way to rally public support. However, these exchanges are often fraught with difficulty, with each side accusing the other of bad faith and of using the prisoners as bargaining chips. Section 6. The human cost of conflict, a heavy toll. Lost in the political posturing and the military maneuvers is the devastating human cost of this endless conflict. Thousands of lives have been lost, countless more injured, and entire communities lie in ruins. In Gaza, the humanitarian situation is dire. The Strip is one of the most densely populated places on Earth, and the years of conflict and the Israeli blockade have left its infrastructure in ruins. The people of Gaza lack access to basic necessities, including clean water, electricity, and adequate health care. On the Israeli side, the constant threat of rocket attacks and terrorist attacks takes a heavy toll on the psyche of the nation. Fear and insecurity are pervasive, and the conflict casts a long shadow over everyday life. Section 7. The world reacts, a divided stage. The international community has long been involved in trying to broker peace between Israel and the Palestinians, but their efforts have been met with limited success. The conflict is a diplomatic quagmire, with no easy solutions in sight. The United States, Israel's closest ally, has traditionally played a leading role in mediating the conflict. However, the Trump administration's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and to cut aid to the Palestinians has been seen by many as siding with Israel and has further complicated efforts to find a peaceful resolution. Section 8. Trump's controversial proposal, a new direction. In a move that sent shockwaves through the international community, former U.S. President Donald Trump unveiled a controversial peace plan in 2020. The plan, which was widely seen as favoring Israel, proposed a two-state solution, but with significant concessions from the Palestinians. The plan was immediately rejected by the Palestinians, who saw it as an attempt to legitimize what they view as illegal Israeli occupation. The proposal also drew criticism from many in the international community, who questioned its fairness and viability. While Trump's plan is no longer on the table, it remains a point of contention and underscores the deep divisions that continue to plague the peace process. Section 9. An uncertain future, the road ahead. As of February 2025, the situation between Netanyahu and Hamas remains volatile. The political landscape is fraught with uncertainty, and both sides are entrenched in their positions. Despite numerous attempts at negotiation, the deep-seated animosities and historical grievances continue to fuel the conflict. The ceasefire in Gaza is fragile, and the potential for renewed violence is ever present. Each day brings new challenges, as both sides navigate a precarious peace. The destruction left in the wake of previous conflicts serves as a stark reminder of the cost of war. The escalation of tensions in the West Bank adds another layer of complexity to an already intractable conflict. Protests and clashes are a daily occurrence, and the presence of military checkpoints only heightens the sense of division and mistrust. The path to peace is fraught with obstacles. Diplomatic efforts often stall, and roadblocks, both literal and metaphorical, impede progress. Yet the pursuit of peace remains a crucial endeavor, as the alternative is continued suffering and instability. The underlying issues that have fueled the conflict for decades remain unresolved, and mistrust between the two sides runs deep. Historical wounds and a legacy of violence have created a chasm that seems insurmountable. Yet the human cost of this conflict demands that the pursuit of peace continues. Innocent civilians, including children, bear the brunt of the violence. Their suffering is a poignant reminder of the urgent need for a resolution. The international community has a crucial role to play in creating the conditions for a just and lasting peace. Global leaders and organizations must work together to support dialogue and reconciliation efforts, providing the necessary resources and political backing. This requires engaging with both sides, addressing the legitimate grievances of both Israelis and Palestinians, and holding all parties accountable for their actions. Only through a comprehensive and inclusive approach can a sustainable peace be achieved. The road ahead is long and uncertain, but the alternative, a future of perpetual conflict and suffering, is unthinkable. It is a journey that demands courage, resilience, and unwavering commitment from all involved. The hope for a brighter future must guide every step forward,